So we're back in my Vitara, 2011 Grand Vitara, Suzuki of course. You can see the mileage on here. And a couple of months ago, I actually had the check engine light come on, right after I bought it in fact. And if you recall, I posted a video about it. That was the fault code I was actually getting, the DTC. I looked it up in the manual and it doesn't appear to exist in the manual. So it's kind of interesting, right? Cold start idle air control system. Well, this is an electronic throttle control, right? So there's no idle air. So I can't find any details in the manual regarding this, and I've posted it for a couple of months now and had absolutely zero comments. Nobody actually cared to express opinion or fact one way or another, which is fine. That's neither here nor there. But the only thing I can think of is that obviously the engine control module will have an algorithm that will look at the target idle, the actual idle, and it will expect the electronic throttle control obviously to be operating within certain limits. So I suspect those limits have actually been exceeded. So rationally thinking it through, what could it be? Could it be as I said, I haven't owned this truck for long. They claim the maintenance was kept up on it, but could it be an excessively clogged air filter that is forcing the throttle control valve to open beyond its normal range of operation? I suppose that's possible. However, I think what's more likely is probably a dirty throttle body. So I think either one could probably cause this code. Don't know that for a fact. Couldn't find anything on the web. Nothing. So kind of interesting. So there's the code. So what I'll do is I'm going to pull up a customized parameter list in the OBD2 global mode, because I have kind of a budget scan tool here. It's not bad. It suits my purposes, but it's not got any fancy capabilities to pull up factory parameters and stuff. So we'll pull up a customized global OBD2 list. We'll take a baseline shot. We'll clean the throttle body and change the air filter. And does it make sense that if the target idle is achieved, that it should be in the relative position should be more towards closed? I think so. That probably makes some sense, I think. So anyway, we'll find out. Okay, so here's the custom list of parameters I've actually selected: RPM, mass airflow, throttle position relative, throttle position absolute, channel B, and throttle actuator control in percentage. So my thinking was that if it is in fact a clogged air filter, relatively clogged, or a dirty electronic throttle control, the throttle body itself, dirty throttle body, that the throttle position itself would have to actually open a bit further than the engine control module would expect in order to achieve the target RPM. So I don't think there's any point really looking at mass air. Theoretically, that should likely be the same, but the relative throttle position might actually move towards closed if there is a restriction because of the filter or the throttle body being dirty. So that's the idea. So you can see here we're in and around 650, and we'll take a note of these percentages, and we'll see if they shift at all after an air filter change and a throttle body clean. That's the theory anyway. We'll see what happens. So there's the filter housing actually removed. Very straightforward. Simply remove the clamp down here, 8mm bolt for the Jubilee clamp, and right here just be aware there is a breather line that you'll have to monkey way to get it to actually remove as well. And of course just simply 4 clips for the housing to pop. Straightforward, don't really need to show you that. So there's the condition of the throttle body. I'll just open it a wee bit here. The manual says you can open it, no issue with damaging it or anything. It is simply spring loaded when it's unpowered, of course. And I hope you can see in the bore there is actually quite a bit of carbon buildup in and around, so I'm hopeful that I'm on the right track here, although no certain. Time will tell, as it always does. And the air filter is absolutely pooched. So ideally you do one of these one at a time and actually get to the root cause of the issue. But in the interest of saving time, this filter is garbage, and the throttle body obviously looks like it needs cleaned anyway. We'll do them both at the same time. That'll leave things a bit of a mystery which actually fixed it, but who cares as long as it's fixed, assuming it will be fixed. Here's the part number for the Fram brand name air filter. This is for the 2.4 litre engine. Elsewhere in the world, the other engines I could not speak to, but that's for the 2.4 litre, and it looks identical to my old tracker, the old Vitara housing. I could be wrong about that, but it certainly looks very familiar in there. Yeah, so I'll give that a good scrub up. Here's the product I'm actually using. Throttle body cleaner, just generic. Yeah, I'm sure you can get done tons of different brand names, but that's the one I'll go with. And we'll give it a scrub up. I'll give you a look at it once it's done. Sounds like the ice cream man is coming. Bonus. So don't forget to, on the face of the electronic throttle control assembly itself, remove the connector just to preclude any possibility of actually pinching your finger. It is of course spring loaded, so you still need to be careful with that. But at least it's not gonna. There's no chance of it motoring closed on your fingers. And I'd imagine that gearbox in there probably take your finger right off. So definitely something you might consider. Don't forget the, what is it, Speed Car 99 says? Don't forget to give your brother his toothbrush back when you're done with it. So there's the throttle body post cleaning. Let's see if I can blade a wee bit here for you. So you can see the periphery of the flapper there is actually all nice and clean, as is the surface where it would actually interface with the blade when it's actually closed. So this is as clean as I can get it. Is it factory clean? No, of course not, but it's clean enough. Don't forget to wear a pair of these, because this stuff is actually absolutely brittle solvent on the eyes. And as I said, yeah, it's a must. Take this connector off just to make sure you're working relatively safe. I don't want to be the safety Nazi, but I think that's just common sense, really. So I'll put the filter back in. Obviously sits in the housing here, no need to see that. Button all back up. I'll show you a button back up, and then we'll start it up and see if there's any shift in the parameters. Okay, so everything all back together. I ended up actually taking the air box off, but this clamp here just made it a wee bit easier to manipulate the duct here back onto the throttle body, because getting that line in position with the whole assembly all together is a wee bit tricky. So yeah, just make sure, of course, the connector to the throttle body, the electronic throttle body, is actually locked on and locked. Make sure you route the mass airflow sensor wiring and put the connector back on it if you've removed it, which I assume you will. So that's it. Everything's back in place here. I'll clean this up a wee bit before I start the engine back up, and yeah, we'll give it a spin. See what happens. Check the parameters. Okay, so we're back in the vehicle. The vehicle is in fact running, and as you can see there, the idle speed is roughly the same, approximately 650, give or take a few fluctuations. The mass airflow sensor seems to be sensing a wee bit more flow. I wasn't sure whether anyway, I'll leave that for now. It's sensing a wee bit more flow through the engine with a new filter and the throttle body cleaned. I wasn't expecting a shift in the mass airflow sensor, because in the mass airflow that's being sensed, because as you can see, there has been a definite shift in the actual throttle position inside the throttle body. You can see there that we're actually down to a relative throttle position of 2%. Throttle position channel B is showing 30.6%, and the throttle actuator control in percent is now down to 2.7. So I'll just remind you what the original parameters were. There's the originals. So you can see we have actually quite a shift between what we were originally looking at and what we are currently reading. So we've got almost 2% shift in the relative throttle position. and almost 2% in throttle position channel B, and almost 3% change in the throttle actuator control percentage parameter, and it's actually shown there. So those are, to me, those are pretty significant shifts. So I've actually reset the check engine light, and I promise you that in the event that it comes back on and the code is still the same, generated that we originally looked at in this piece, I will give you a follow-up video. But those look like pretty significant parameter shifts to me. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. Just getting back to the mass airflow for a second there, I didn't think that was going to change much, because I thought the throttle actuator would actually change the positions in order to maintain roughly the same mass airflow. But actually, it's getting close to the original reading now, which actually was what, 2.85. So there you go. It's actually bang on. So I wasn't really expecting a shift in that parameter. I was expecting a shift in the actual position of the throttles. So that's kind of interesting. There you go. This is a bit of a mystery DTC. Hopefully this helps somebody. It kind of makes sense to me what I've done. If it doesn't make sense, by all means sing it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Yeah, this has kind of been an interesting one, because there is no idle air. It kind of throws you for a loop what they're actually talking about there. So, but I think if you think it through, hopefully my rationale makes sense. If it doesn't, by all means, as I said, sing it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Let me know whether you like the video, good, bad, indifferent. I'm a grown man. I can take some criticism. I don't mind. Try and make it constructive so I can get some value out of it, and actually maybe make some changes for the better in the future for me, and well, anybody who's interested in the videos for that matter, taking the time to watch them. So greatly appreciated. Shout out to my buddy Dave Sturl, his YouTube handle. He put one of my videos on one of the what's the word for it? I don't really use them. I don't know, it was Instagram, or no, it was Facebook somewhere. I don't use them facilities. I'm not really interested in them, to be honest, but it did generate quite a few views for one of my previous videos. Mass airflow sensor video part 2, part 3 still to come. So greatly appreciated. Anybody who's new to the channel who thinks this might be worth watching, hard to believe, but somebody does. Greatly appreciated, and I'll see you in the near future. Right, cheers boys, ciao.